There are a lot of different genres in gaming, some still being popular while others not so much. Shooters, platformers, open worlds and such are still doing really well today, but then you have all the genres that barely get any games of it. There is this one special genre that used to be really popular back in the 80s to 90s, but slowly started to fade away, which is the point and click genre. I experienced some few point and click games such as the first two Broken Sword games, the Sam & Max games, I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream, and I guess Telltale games are sort of point and click games, sort of. I like point and click games for their more chill but relaxing gameplay, and they usually have good stories and great humor, whether it's intentional or not. But there has been one point and click game I've been wanting to play for a while now, which is called World of Horror.
Oh, that's so sad.
A point and click game with a style reminiscent of the 80s you will find on game systems like the NES. With this one being horror themed. I've been wanting to play this game for a while now due to its style. It looks so cool. It looks like a manga that's come to life in a game form. It looks so sick. So without further ado, let's get into the game. World of Horror is about several protagonists who investigate several mysteries around the city with monsters looming around, with the goal not only being to finish the mystery but also to survive them. Like I said earlier, this game plays like a point and click game. You won't be running around shooting things or platforming around obstacles. Now instead you will just click on where you want to go. When I started the game and got into the first mystery, I did admittedly get very nervous with how many mechanics there was. Compared to other point and click games, there's a lot more going on here. Status effects, inventory, finding enemies, weapons, skill system, keeping in check with your mental health, the clock and more. But when doing the second playthrough, I start to understand it a lot more, and it's really not that complicated. It's just that the gameplay is a lot more involved than I really expected. The gameplay has you clicking around the environments to progress the story and fight demons who are in your way. The thing is, you don't actually get to click on much in this game outside the menus. Unlike games like Broken Sword or Monkey Island, you can't really click on the environment to move around or click on really any objects in the environment to interact with it. Instead, it's all just really clicking on the menu or the buttons. What really took me by surprise though was that the battle system is like a turn-based RPG. You use a turn and then the enemy does a turn, rinse and repeat until one of you guys die. You get your attacks will depend on if you manage to find a weapon or not. Some attacks will also be only available if you find a gun or melee weapon and do more damage compared by just using your fist. You can also use other moves to increase your next attack, or if you have a teammate, use them to attack them. Sometimes I could not find a weapon at all, so I just spammed the punch attack until the enemy died. I think the combat is cool, but I swear it's impossible not to get attacked by the enemy. I think it's really annoying since you can miss multiple times, yet they will never do that. You can use abilities to increase the chance of enemy missing, but I swear that barely worked for me at all. Also, it really only lasts for one round, so it doesn't really help that much in the long run. You can also find items that will increase your stats, but there is a catch. Usually they make one of your stats go up while another one goes down, so it's a bit like if you really want to risk it or not. Might be a hot take, but I find the combat cool but a bit flawed. Usually the best strategy would just to spam this most damaging move and just spam it over and over again. I wish the combat was more like other RPGs such as S&T Nocturne, where you could not spam the same attack over and over again or else you would die very quickly, but instead had to be a lot more strategic and use your other spells. Also, this game doesn't have healing spells. I've never seen turn-based combat that doesn't have any healing items. You also have a very limited inventory space, about 4 slots, so you have to be careful what you want to equip. If you find allies in your group, you can also increase your inventory space. I do really like the limited inventory slots, as it does force you to plan on what to equip or what you have to get rid of. Should I get rid of this dust that could reveal a potential invincible monster, or should I instead keep and then get rid of another item? In the game, you will play as different characters, experience these mysteries and trying to survive them. But to be honest, despite the stats saying they're different, they didn't really feel different at all. I just mostly played as Aiko because I thought she looked pretty neat. Each of these mysteries contains different monsters to defeat and scenarios that will give you choices. Some being good and some being bad. Choices could be stuff like, oh, a doctor wants to sign a paper, do you want to do it or not? Or this nice person asks if you know about this person, and so on. Some of these choices are a bit obvious that they are bad, but other times it can be really hard to tell if what you choose is going to be bad or not. The good choices could also lead you to getting rewards, such as getting good effects, like getting more health, items, and even more members to your party, which will increase your attack damage. But the bad effects effects can go from losing health to getting a status effect that decreases one of your stats. However, sometimes you will be punished even if there's no option to pick. Like sometimes I would just get hit by a random spider and lose health.
You should be ashamed of who you are and what you've done.
Before you start on a new mystery, you can either go to your apartment or the lighthouse. Your apartment is used as a location to select your next mystery, but you can also do some other things like taking a bath or looking out the hole in the door to see if someone's trying to sell you something. The lighthouse, however, holds a secret. A locked door with 6 keyholes. It's a mystery what's inside, but if you do manage to survive several of the mysteries and get enough of the keys, you can open it and see what's inside. It leads to 2 extra fights with a long staircase, and finally, beating the statue on top, you'll save the city from the monsters. Usually the one thing on the top is usually representing the god that's terrorizing the city. Congratulations, you are safe for now. Speaking of monsters, these designs are really freaking fantastic. I love when the game turns black and you can only see white text like this. You know you have to fight something, and then boom, there they are. It's a great way to build anticipation on how the monster will look. You also do find some normal humans here and there, but most of the time it's monsters. I love all designs of the monsters. Seeing normal humans turning into these horrific creatures was so cool. What's also cool is the music in this game. It uses 8-bit type of music like you would heard on the NES inserts. And at first that might sound like a negative, but the composer really did a great job with it, and it's just really great stuff. Every environment has their own track which makes them stand out more, but I especially love the common music in these areas. The common music is a much more intense version of the music that plays in the area, which is something I find really cool. I also want to mention that I really like the track that plays in the hospital as part of the music is a heartbeat monitor. Really clever stuff. There are also in-game achievements unlocked, such as unlocking different endings to the cases. These achievements don't really do anything other than for completionists, like basically bragging rights. I think that pretty much covers what I want to say about this game. I was really nervous when I started playing it, since I thought it was going to be complicated, not exactly what I wanted, but the more I started playing it, the more I started to like it. It was a pretty unique experience, and I'm really glad I played it. If I had to rate it, I'll probably rate it something like 8.5237894 out of 10. That sounds about right. Anyways, I hope you guys liked the video. I'll see you next time. I also forgot to mention there's a dog who can sell you stuff and you can boop his nose.